The world doesn't care what broke you, only what you build from it. Your struggle is your responsibility. Own it, outgrow it, overcome it. Nobody cares about your pain until you turn it into power. What if nobody cares how tired you are? What if no one shows up to cheer for you when you're broken, lost, and barely holding it together? What if the world just keeps moving and your pain doesn't even slow it down? That's the reality most people avoid, but it's the truth. You could be dealing with heartbreak, rejection, failure, fear, or stress, and still the world expects you to show up. You might be waiting for someone to understand, but deep down you know you have to do this on your own. This isn't about making you feel worse. It's about waking you up. Your struggles might be real, but what you do despite them is what matters. If you want to build a life you're proud of, you can't wait for sympathy. You've got to use the struggle, not sit in it. You've got to get back up stronger every time. Now let's dive in. Number 1, stand up and prove your struggle made you stronger. You don't have to explain your pain to anyone anymore. You've already lived it. You've carried the weight through long nights and quiet mornings. You've had moments where your chest felt heavy and your thoughts were louder than your surroundings. But now is not the time to keep reliving what broke you. Now is the time to stand up and prove that none of it was wasted. Not a single ounce of what you went through should go unused. The people who hurt you, the moments that weakened you, the disappointments that nearly made you quit, they don't get to win. You do. You get to take all of it and grow from it. You get to decide that the pain was real, but it will never define you. You have more control than you think. But it begins the second you stop asking for the world to understand and start showing them who you became in the process. You didn't come this far to stay broken. You came this far to rebuild stronger, smarter, and more focused. The pain had a role, but it doesn't get the final say. Strength doesn't appear when everything is easy. It shows up in the middle of the mess, and you've already been there. So what's next? You rise. You put yourself back together, piece by piece, with discipline and with purpose. You learn from what didn't work. You remember what hurt so you can use it as a reference, not a resting place. You don't need anyone to give you permission to grow. You just need to make the decision that your past will not be your ceiling. Let it become your foundation. When you get up and start showing the world who you've become, people will notice, but by then their attention won't matter. You won't be chasing validation anymore, because you'll already know your worth. That's the shift that changes everything. When you realize your story is not about who left you, what you lost, or how many times you were told no. It's about what you chose to do with the pain. How you responded when nobody clapped for you. How you stood up when no one offered a hand. How you created momentum when everything around you told you to stop. This life is not going to reward your complaints. It rewards your consistency. The longer you wait for someone to feel sorry for you, the longer you stay behind. The world is not cruel for not caring about your struggle. It's just moving fast. And if you don't catch up, you get left behind. But that's not your story anymore. You've already decided that standing still isn't good enough. You've decided that silence won't be your response to pain. Your response will be movement, effort, commitment, growth. That's how you prove you've changed. Not with words, but with what you do next. You show up every day, even when it's still hard, even when the past shows up in your mind and tries to slow you down. You don't shrink, you expand. You wake up and make your bed. You finish what you start. You keep your promises to yourself. You stop negotiating with excuses, because every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you become stronger. Every time you say no to the temptation to give up, you build a version of yourself that nobody can take apart. You didn't go through all of that just to survive. You went through it to become someone unshakable. But that only happens when you choose to move forward without needing applause. Strength doesn't come from comfort. It comes from action. It comes from showing up tired, doing the work, and knowing you're building a life no one can question. You don't owe the world an explanation. You owe yourself results, the kind of results that silence the doubt and prove that everything you've been through led to something greater. You're not here to tell people you've changed. You're here to show them through the way you live. Let your progress speak. Let your habits reveal your mindset. Let your Let your discipline remind people why you're different now. Not better than anyone else, but better than who you used to be. That's what this is about. Competing with the version of you who almost quit. Replacing hesitation with commitment. Replacing resentment with responsibility. Replacing fear with action. You don't need a bigger audience. You need bigger standards. You rise to the level of the expectations you set for yourself, not the ones others place on you. And if nobody claps, keep going. If nobody notices, keep going. If nobody understands, keep going. Because when you finally start winning, the same people who ignored your struggle will wonder how you got there. But by then, you'll be too focused to explain. You'll be busy building the next level of your life. Because now you know what you're made of. You know what you've overcome. And you're ready to carry that proof into everything you do. That's what it means to turn your struggle into strength. That's how you rise. That's how you become someone who doesn't need pity, because you've already earned power. Keep going. Keep building. Keep becoming. Number 2. Take control and outwork the pain you carry. Life doesn't ask for your permission when it hands you pain. It doesn't check if you're ready. It doesn't warn you when the hits are coming. But once they arrive, once that weight settles in your chest or in your mind or in your memories, the only thing that matters is what you do next. Pain is real. Pain changes you. But it should not define you. You may not have caused what hurt you, but it is your job to carry it with strength. And not just carry it, outwork it. Rise above it, build something greater in spite of it. Pain might slow you down, but it doesn't have the right to stop you, unless you give it that power. Taking control starts with accepting what you've been through, without letting it dictate what comes next. You don't erase pain by ignoring it. You don't get stronger by waiting for the hurt to pass. You get stronger by facing it, owning it, and then pushing forward anyway. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and people who grow. One waits for it to stop hurting. The other moves even when it still does. There's a part of you that's tired. I know. A part that says it's unfair. It's too much. That you shouldn't have to carry this. And maybe you're right. But here you are. And while you can't change what happened, you can decide that it's not going to hold your future hostage. You can choose to take control of your habits, your time, your focus, your reaction. And every time you do, you're proving that your pain didn't win. Stop giving the pain more space than it deserves. It's already taken your peace. Don't let it take your discipline. Don't let it steal your drive. Don't let it distract you from what you could still become. Wake up early even when you feel heavy. Push through the workout even when your heart aches. Show up to your goals even when you feel unmotivated. Build routines that bring you stability. Build discipline that becomes stronger than your excuses. It's not about pretending to be okay. It's about acting in a way that brings you back to who you want to be. You can cry and still take action. You can hurt and still make progress. You can doubt yourself and still take one more step forward. Taking control doesn't mean never falling apart. It means putting yourself back together piece by piece every time you do. That's strength. That's growth. That's self-respect. You won't heal by accident. You won't wake up one day and find that it all fixed itself. You won't move forward by waiting. You have to decide that your life is still yours to build. No matter what broke along the way. Take back your mornings. Take back your choices. Take back the time you gave to overthinking. Take back the days that pain tried to steal. You do that with action, with structure, with effort that doesn't depend on emotion. Every task you complete while in pain builds mental toughness. Every moment you refuse to give in adds to your inner strength. You don't have to prove anything to anyone else, but you do need to prove it to yourself. Because deep down you know when you've been giving less than what you're capable of. You know when you've been hiding behind what hurt you. And you know when you're finally ready to take your life into your own hands. This is about reclaiming the power that was lost. The days where you let sadness make decisions for you. The hours where fear decided what you did next. The nights where the past replayed louder than your future. You can't keep handing those moments your attention. You have to create a reason to wake up that is stronger than the weight you wake up with. That starts with action, movement, control, direction. Set small goals and crush them. Do the hard things first. Build routines that remove guesswork. Organize your day so that the pain has no room to distract you. Find work that challenges you and put your full energy into it. Pick up the book. Turn off the noise. Write things down. Track your behavior. Improve one area of your life and let that progress bleed into everything else. When you feel broken inside, structure will save you. When your mind is loud, action will quiet it. When you feel like quitting, discipline will carry you through. And when nobody sees what you're going through, remember this: your results will speak for you later. Let your consistency become your voice. Let your progress be your reply. Let your work ethic reflect what you truly want. You've been through pain that others may never understand, but that doesn't mean you stay in the shadows. You don't have to explain everything. You just have to live in a way that shows you didn't quit. Every single day you have a chance to move your life forward. You don't have to move fast. You just have to move. You don't have to win every time. You just have to keep showing up. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to control what you can. And let effort carry the rest. Pain makes you think you can't handle more, but most of the time you can. Not because it's easy, because it's necessary, because your future depends on what you do next, and because you're not helpless unless you believe you are. You may feel lost, but you are not stuck. You may feel overwhelmed, but you are not weak. You may feel tired, but you are not done. It's easy to think others have it easier, but you don't know what battles they're hiding. What matters is not how much easier their path looks. What matters is how hard you're willing to work to walk your own. You don't need sympathy. You need strength. You don't need understanding. You need control. You don't need someone to save you. You need to show yourself that you won't stay down. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Start with whatever strength you can find today. If all you can do is get out of bed and try, then start there. Then do it again tomorrow, and again the next day. Stack those small victories. They become momentum. And with enough momentum, even the pain that once seemed impossible to carry becomes something you rise above. You're not defined by your trauma. You're not limited by your history. You're not stuck in the past unless you keep turning back to it. You're not your mistakes. You're not your weakest moments. You are still here. That means you still have something to fight for. Something to build, something to become. And that starts the moment you take control and put in the work to earn back your peace, to earn back your drive, to earn back your life. Number 3, rise daily and push past what broke you before. Every morning you wake up, you are faced with a choice. Stay stuck in yesterday or move forward anyway. You can't wait until the pain is gone. You can't wait until the fear is quiet. You can't wait for confidence to show up first. You rise anyway. You push anyway. You move forward not because you don't feel the weight of what broke you, but because you refuse to let it have the final word. You've been through things that shook you. You've had moments where you thought you'd never feel strong again. But here you are, still breathing, still capable of changing everything if you choose to stop shrinking in front of your past. What hurt you before doesn't own today unless you give it permission. What stopped you yesterday doesn't get to stop you again unless you let it. That version of you who gave up, who got overwhelmed, who broke down, that was then. That doesn't have to be who wakes up today. You get to rise with new decisions. You get to choose new actions. You get to replace hesitation with courage, even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles, even if the old fear still lingers. Start your day with a clear direction. Don't drift. Don't wait to feel ready. Structure beats emotion. Discipline beats doubt. Progress doesn't come from how much you believe, it comes from how much you do. And the most powerful thing you can do is show up anyway. Especially on the days you don't feel like it. Especially when the old wounds try to reopen. Especially when the old thoughts whisper that it's no use. You rise because you have a reason. You push because you owe it to the version of you who couldn't. There were times you backed down because you didn't know how to keep going. Times you walked away from things you could have overcome. Times you felt so broken that moving forward didn't even seem possible. But that doesn't define you. Those were moments, not your identity. You are not your breaking point. You are not your lowest chapter. You are the person who survived it, and is still standing. That means you're still capable of growth, of victory, of rising stronger. Create a new standard for yourself. One that doesn't allow your past to set your pace. One that holds you accountable to your vision, not your history. Set your alarm and honor it. Start your morning with movement. Feed your mind with something that sharpens your focus. Don't let the old stories play in the background. Silence them by building something new. Replace hesitation with routines. Replace overthinking with action. Replace old patterns with daily improvement. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. One foot in front of the other, one choice at a time, one win at a time. The pain may not disappear, but your ability to handle it grows. The fear may not vanish, but it loses power when you stop obeying it. When you rise and do the work, despite everything, you train your mind to follow your lead, not the other way around. Don't forget how far you've come. Don't forget what it took to even get here. You've already proven you're stronger than what tried to break you. The fact that you still want better, that you still have the hunger to grow, that you still feel something inside you telling you not to quit, that's power. That's hope. And that's all you need to begin again today. You don't need to outshine anyone. You don't need applause. You just need to outdo the old version of you. The one that gave in to doubt. The one that made excuses. The one that stayed quiet. Every time you push past your previous limit, no matter how small, you expand your capacity. You increase your belief. You gain clarity. Progress creates momentum, and momentum makes change feel possible. There's no switch to flip that erases the past, but there is action you can take that replaces its influence. You can learn to rebuild trust in yourself. You can learn to show up consistently even when your motivation fades. You can train yourself to do hard things by doing hard things daily. That's what growth looks like. Not a sudden breakthrough, but slow, steady steps toward who you want to become. Every challenge you face is a test of your commitment. The moment it gets hard is the moment most people give up. That's where you need to stand out. Not with talent, not with speed, but with the simple choice to keep going. When it hurts, keep going. When it gets boring, keep going. When the results are slow, keep going. When nobody notices, keep going. Because the reward isn't just in what you achieve. It's in who you become through the process. You don't get stronger by avoiding what broke you. You get stronger by confronting it, learning from it, and stepping right over it. You've lived through heartbreak, through failure, through rejection, through setbacks. That means you've already survived what others are still afraid to face. Use that. Use your scars as proof that you're still capable of standing, capable of growing, capable of becoming someone you respect. Your future won't be built on comfort. It will be built on how many times you rise when the past tries to pull you down. Every time you push through resistance, you are building character. Every time you act in alignment with your purpose, instead of your feelings, you are building grit. Every time you make a decision to grow instead of shrink, you are taking your power back. You may have lost people who didn't believe in you. You may have failed at things you thought would last. You may have messed up in ways you still regret. But that doesn't mean you're unworthy of a better life. That doesn't mean the pain has to control the next chapter. You can rewrite everything if you commit to showing up differently today. You need to move with urgency, not anxiety, not pressure, but with purpose. Stop postponing your comeback. Stop waiting for the right mood. Stop playing small because something broke you once. There is still time to become the person you know you're capable of becoming, but that time won't wait forever. Start today. Start now. Rise again. Push again. Not just for the wins, but for the freedom, the inner peace, the self-respect, the ability to say, I did not give up when it got hard. That power is already in you. You just have to activate it with daily discipline. Your habits shape your reality. And when you learn to take control of your choices, even when it's uncomfortable, you take control of your life. Every morning you have a chance to choose strength over sorrow, progress over pain, purpose over the past. That choice, made daily, transforms everything. Number 4. Show up and build a life no one doubts. Every day you're given the chance to prove something. Not to others first, but to yourself. It starts with showing up when it's hard. It starts with doing the work even when it feels unnoticed. Nobody wakes up respected. Nobody hands you credibility. You earn it by becoming someone others can't question. Not through your words, but through your actions. Not through what you say you'll do, but by what you consistently deliver. You don't have to announce your goals, just show up every day and make them real. There's something powerful about being dependable. There's something strong about consistency. When people see you showing up with discipline, when they see you do what needs to be done without waiting to be told, you don't need to convince them of your worth. Your results speak before you do. That kind of life, the kind no one doubts, is built in the quiet moments. The early hours, the late nights, the weekends most waste. It's built when no one's watching. It's built when you decide that you're no longer okay with being average. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need to be the fastest learner. What you need is to be the person who doesn't disappear when life gets uncomfortable. The one who refuses to coast. The one who never settles for bare minimum. It's easy to talk big, but discipline isn't loud. It's steady. It's intentional. It's day after day of taking ownership of your future. And when you do that long enough, people start to notice, not because you told them to look, but because what you've built can't be ignored. You have to decide what kind of reputation you want. Do you want to be known for excuses or for excellence? Do you want people to doubt your word or trust it? Because your track record speaks for itself. Every time you follow through, you're building something bigger than success. You're building character, integrity, respect. You don't need everyone to like you, but live in a way that nobody questions your work ethic. Live in a way that even those who don't support you can't deny your growth. Being consistent doesn't mean you never fail. It means you don't give up when you do. It means you get back up faster than you fall. It means you keep showing up with the same fire even when progress is slow. That's how trust is built. Not just with others, but with yourself. When you trust yourself, you stop negotiating with discipline. You stop second-guessing your efforts. You stop waiting for the world to validate you. Most people never build that kind of life because they quit when it gets dull, or when it gets painful, or when no one claps for them. But you're not building for applause. You're building something permanent, something real, something that doesn't need defending. Every decision you make today is either moving you closer to that or pulling you further away. The standard you hold yourself to is the one the world will eventually hold you to. You don't need to post about your work, just do it. You don't need to explain your goals, just chase them. You don't need permission to improve, just start. Your results, your energy, your presence, those things will speak louder than anything you could say. People will doubt you when you talk, but they can't doubt what they see. When they see consistency, growth, and reliability, the conversation changes. Think about who you were a year ago. Think about the patterns you were stuck in, the distractions that stole your focus, the habits that weakened your potential. Now think about who you want to be in 1 year from now. What version of you would leave no room for doubt? What would your schedule look like? How would you move? How would you carry yourself? What kind of environment would you create? Now start becoming that person today. Stop waiting for ideal conditions. Stop waiting for more motivation. The perfect day won't come. The perfect timing won't appear. Progress is made by people who act before they feel ready, who train when tired, who learn when they're frustrated, who keep promises even when it's inconvenient. That kind of discipline doesn't just build success, it builds trust. People respect consistency. They rely on it. They believe in it. And they believe in those who practice it without needing recognition. If you've been making promises to yourself and breaking them, today is the day that changes. Because if you can't believe in your own word, nobody else will either. Make your commitments real. Follow through with quiet force. Over time, the noise of doubt fades. The people who didn't believe in you go silent. Not because you argued with them, but because your results made it impossible for them to deny your growth. Some days will test you. You'll feel like you're not moving fast enough, like your effort isn't paying off. But this is what separates those who dream from those who build. The dreamers want applause. The builders want results. Don't get caught in the trap of trying to be impressive. Be intentional. Be reliable. Be solid. People watch how you move more than they listen to what you say. Every missed workout, every excuse made, every shortcut taken, it tells a story. But so does every disciplined choice. Every late night of focused effort. Every early morning where you gave it your all. Those stories shape your reputation. Remember this: your potential doesn't count for anything unless you use it. You don't get points for talent. You get results from consistency. And when you do that long enough, people stop asking what you're capable of. They already know. They've seen it. They've felt it. Because your presence carries proof. You walk into a room and your work ethic speaks for itself. You show up and people don't doubt your value because they've seen the standard you bring. You're not just working for outcomes. You're working to become someone undeniable. Someone whose effort is never questioned. Someone who raises the bar for others. Just by walking in the room. That doesn't come from luck. That doesn't come from being special. That comes from day after day of showing up with purpose, with effort, with a clear decision to never let comfort lead. If you want to live a life that no one doubts, you need to live each day with integrity. Do what you said you would. Respect your time. Respect your energy. Respect your goals. Make choices that match the life you want, not the life you're trying to escape. Don't wait for people to see your value. Prove it with how you live. Not once. Not sometimes. But every single day. You're in full control of the reputation you build. Not just in the world, but in your own mind. Show up in a way that makes you proud when no one's around. Keep your promises even when there's no one watching. Build habits that hold strong when everything else falls apart. And over time you'll become the kind of person no one doubts. Not because you talked about it, because you built it, because you lived it, because you showed up for it. Every single day. Number 5. Train hard and let your results do the talking. Every time you show up to train, you're shaping something inside you that can't be bought, borrowed, or gifted. You're not just building muscle or sharpening your craft. You're building a level of certainty that no one can shake. You're not chasing validation. You're becoming someone who doesn't need to speak, because their actions say everything. The way you train, the effort you give when no one sees it, the sacrifices you make to keep growing, that's what earns respect. Not words, not talk, not promises, but results. People waste so much time explaining what they're going to do. They write it out, they post about it. They tell their friends, but then they stop when it gets uncomfortable. They slow down when no one's clapping. If you want to build a life that commands respect, get quiet and get serious. Train hard, push yourself. Be consistent. Your progress will speak on your behalf. You don't need to prove anything when the outcomes are clear. Most people quit because they're waiting for motivation. They want it to feel good. They want someone to cheer them on. But when you train with discipline, you stop waiting to feel ready. You stop needing permission to start. You realize that progress only happens when you push beyond comfort. It happens when you show up, even when you're tired. When you keep going, even when you're discouraged. That's how you build results you can be proud of. Every rep matters. Every set counts. Every minute spent getting better is stacking up into something others can't ignore. Don't chase the spotlight. Build in the shadows. You don't need an audience. You need a reason. A reason to wake up earlier. A reason to stay focused. A reason to demand more of yourself, even when you already gave your best. Your reason has to be stronger than your excuses. Your goals have to matter more than your feelings. There's something powerful about being the one who doesn't flinch when it gets hard. Who doesn't look around for support. Who doesn't announce their every move. You just train. You keep showing up. You keep doing the work. While others are explaining their delays, you're executing. While others are making excuses, you're building momentum. And eventually the results will make the noise. Nobody questions the person whose results are undeniable. They don't ask if you're serious. They don't doubt your commitment. Because they see it. It's in your performance. It's in your progress. It's in the way you carry yourself. You don't have to explain what you're doing. You just keep building. And over time, they'll understand. Let them wonder how you did it. Let them try to figure out how you stayed consistent when they gave up. You're not here to entertain. You're here to elevate. You see, when you train with purpose, you're not just building skills. You're building identity. You become someone who follows through. Someone who doesn't back down. Someone who refuses to live average. And once you start living like that, everything changes. Your energy changes. Your discipline strengthens. Your vision sharpens. You're no longer chasing short-term wins. You're chasing mastery. You're chasing growth. You're chasing greatness that can't be denied. Stop talking about what you want. Build it. Stop explaining your dreams. Make them real. When your actions align with your ambition, the world takes notice. But if you're always talking and rarely doing, people tune out. They've heard it before. They're waiting to see if this time is different. Don't give them words. Give them results. Let your work speak louder than anything you could say. You don't need recognition to be successful. You need relentless effort. You need to outwork your weaknesses. You need to keep showing up when it would be easier to quit. Train with focus. Train with intensity. Train like your future depends on it. Because it does. And when the results start to come, you won't need to convince anyone. They'll see it. They'll feel it. They'll know you didn't get lucky. You earned it. It doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter what you've been through. What matters is how you respond now. How you show up now. How you push forward when everything inside you says rest. That's when champions are made. That's when legacies are built. In the quiet hours. In the painful moments. In the grind that no one applauds. That's where strength is born. And that's what separates the talkers from the doers. Your body will want to quit. Your mind will try to negotiate. But when you've trained yourself to move anyway, when you've trained yourself to keep pushing without reward, that's where the breakthrough happens. Not all at once, but gradually. And suddenly the person you were is gone. Replaced by someone who trains with conviction, who lives with purpose, who doesn't rely on motivation, because their mission is stronger than their mood. Don't compare your pace to anyone else. Just outwork your last version. Just give more than you did yesterday. Keep sharpening your edge. Keep pushing your limit. You're not here to meet the standard. You're here to raise it. To build something they didn't see coming. To keep moving when others pause. Your results will handle your reputation. Your work will speak before you enter the room. You don't have to be loud to be great. You just have to be disciplined, consistent, relentless. You don't get what you want because you ask. You get it because you train like someone who refuses to lose. Every moment of effort is shaping your identity. Every choice you make is either building you or breaking you. There is no neutral. There's no standing still. You're either getting closer or falling further behind. People will notice. They may not say it, but they will see it. They'll see the difference in how you move, in how you work, in how you don't fold under pressure. Because training isn't just physical. It's mental. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It's about building something inside you that refuses to break. No matter how tough life gets, keep your head down and do the work. Stop looking around. Stop explaining. Just build. Just show up again and again with intention and focus. One day the results will speak a language louder than words. They'll say this person didn't just want it. They worked for it. They trained when others rested. They stayed committed when others got distracted. They chose growth over comfort. And now they stand where others only dreamed. That's what it means to train hard. And let your results do the talking. It's not about being perfect. It's about being unstoppable. It's about becoming the kind of person whose effort commands attention, whose progress silences doubt, whose work speaks long before they ever have to. Train like your future is counting on you. Because it is. And when the time comes, your results won't need an introduction. They'll do the talking for you.
Number 6. Refuse pity and demand respect through your actions. The moment you choose to refuse pity is the moment you reclaim your power,
No one is coming to save you. No one owes you sympathy. Life doesn't slow down because you're hurting, and people around you might listen once, maybe twice, but after that, they expect you to figure it out. You have two choices. Sit in your pain and hope someone understands it, or stand up and show them who you've decided to become. Pity never builds anything. Pity doesn't create growth. It gives you permission to stay stuck. And if you keep feeding it, it will take from you every bit of strength you've got left. You want respect? Earn it. Not with your words, not with your story, not with what happened to you, but with how you rise after it. With how you work when no one believes in you. With how you carry yourself when people stop clapping. Respect is never handed out. It's earned in silence and sacrifice. It's in the way you keep showing up when quitting would be easier. It's in how you choose responsibility over excuses. The world doesn't give respect to the wounded. It gives it to the ones who turn their wounds into fuel and move forward. If you let pity become your comfort, it will rob you of every opportunity that demands strength, because strength comes from facing reality, not running from it, from refusing to stay small just because things got difficult. There's no power in repeating the past. There's no victory in retelling your suffering over and over, hoping someone hears it differently this time. The real power is in refusing to let your pain define your future, not because it didn't hurt, but because you decided not to stay there. You don't need anyone to feel sorry for you. What you need is to look yourself in the mirror and say, I will earn the life I want, even if it's hard, even if no one helps me, even if I have to start from zero again. That's where self-respect is born. That's when people start watching you differently, not because you ask them to, but because your actions speak louder than your past. You don't inspire others by being broken. You inspire them by building yourself back. And every time you rise after something tried to tear you down, you're telling the world, I'm not done. I'm still here. I've still got more to give. That energy creates change. That mindset shapes leaders. It doesn't matter if people once doubted you. What matters is that you don't doubt yourself now. Pity may feel like comfort, but it turns to poison over time. You start needing it. You start waiting for it. You find identity in it. And before you know it, you've built your entire life around being the one who struggled, but there's no strength in staying there. You don't want to be remembered for how bad it was. You want to be remembered for how you turned it around, for how you kept going when the odds weren't in your favor, for how you worked harder than the pain trying to hold you back. Make your actions louder than your explanations. Stop explaining why it's been hard, and start showing what you're doing with it. Build a routine that reflects discipline. Live each day like it matters, because it does. And the more consistent you get, the less you'll need anyone's approval. Respect comes when you no longer need permission to be great. When you no longer wait to feel right to do right. When you choose to be better even when it hurts. The world respects those who don't complain. The ones who just do the work. The ones who don't ask for special treatment. The ones who show up, get better, and keep moving. Be that person. Be the one who surprises everyone with your growth. Be the one who proves to yourself that you don't need pity. You need a plan. You need action. You need movement. You need to wake up every day and chase the version of you that doesn't rely on sympathy. It's not easy, but it's necessary. The hard path is where the growth happens. It's where you get to separate yourself from the average. The ones who stop when it's painful stay in the cycle. The ones who decide to move anyway break through. It's not about feeling strong. It's about deciding to act strong. You won't feel ready, you won't always feel confident, but you can still make the decision to act. And once you act, your mindset begins to shift. Every choice to do the right thing, even when you're hurting, builds strength. Every decision to stay focused, when it would be easier to fall apart, adds something to your character. And eventually you look back and realize you've become someone who doesn't need applause to keep going. Someone who demands respect, not with words but with effort, with consistency, with the kind of work ethic that's impossible to ignore. You don't need to prove anything to anyone else, but you owe it to yourself to prove that you're capable of more. That you don't need to be seen as weak, to be worthy of success. You don't need to keep reminding people of what you've lost. Focus on what you're building. Focus on what's next. Build a life so solid that no one has to ask if you're serious. They'll know by the way you show up, and it starts with the little things. Wake up when you said you would. Follow through on your word. Take care of your health. Be the kind of person who finishes what they start. These small things create massive shifts over time. People notice, not because you told them to, but because there's a different energy around someone who holds themselves to a higher standard. That's how respect is earned. Not begged for, not asked for, but demanded by the way you live. You don't have to defend your past. You don't have to explain your pain. What matters now is the direction you're headed. Let them wonder how you stayed disciplined. Let them guess how you kept going. You don't owe anyone your struggle story. What you owe is a life that shows what you did with it. You can't change where you've been, but you can change what comes next by refusing pity and stepping into responsibility. Every time you choose effort over excuse, you get stronger. Every time you keep moving when you feel like collapsing, your future shifts. Life will test you. It's not personal. It's just the way it is. But you get to decide how you respond. You get to decide whether you break or build. You get to decide whether you live for attention or for achievement. And when you make that choice daily, you create a life no one can ignore.
Number 7. Use rejection and become the person they admire. Rejection is never easy to face. It feels personal. It feels like someone looked you in the eye and said you're not good enough. And if you're not careful, you start to believe them. You begin to see yourself through their limited view. You shrink your potential to match their opinion. But that's where everything starts to change. When you decide you're not going to accept that version of yourself anymore. When you realize rejection is not a sign to stop, but a signal to rise. It's not a closed door. It's a test of how bad you want to grow. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need one person, yourself. That's enough to start. Rejection should never be the reason you give up. It should be the reason you train harder. You've got to turn that energy into fuel. Every time someone says you're not ready, you go get better. Every time you hear a no, you improve. You stop waiting for approval and start building results. The best thing rejection gives you is clarity. It shows you where you stand. It reminds you that nothing is promised. It pushes you to earn every inch of success with effort, discipline, and time. When someone doubts you, don't try to convince them with words. Build something so strong they can't ignore it. Show up with a level of consistency that outlasts their doubt. Work with a focus they've never seen. Keep going when they stop watching. That's where admiration comes from. Not from being liked, but from being relentless. Not from having the perfect story, but from building it piece by piece without shortcuts, without seeking applause. You want to be admired? Then stop looking for easy. Stop looking for fast. Stop chasing comfort. Real admiration is earned in silence. When no one claps, when no one texts back, when no one offers support, it's earned in the dark. When you're the only one who believes it's still possible, and you keep going anyway, because deep down you know who you're becoming. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it to meet the future version of you who refused to stay small. Use every moment of rejection as feedback. Ask yourself what it's trying to teach you. Were you unprepared? Then prepare more. Were you unfocused? Then get sharper. Were you too early? Then stay in the process longer. Every no has something to teach. If you're humble enough to listen, growth doesn't come from being accepted. It comes from learning how to adapt when you're not. When you stay honest with yourself. When you don't make excuses. When you hold yourself to the standard required to break through. You've got to get tired of being underestimated. Not in a bitter way, but in a focused way. Let it burn, but don't let it break you. You have to outwork the version of you they rejected. You have to prove to yourself that their opinion was never your limit. You're not here to beg for a chance. You're here to earn your space by doing what most won't. That's what builds admiration. When you climb without complaining. When you improve without needing applause. When you succeed without stepping on anyone. And here's the truth. One day, the same people who turned away from you will watch everything you've built. They'll remember what they said. They'll remember how quickly they dismissed you. And in that moment, they won't see the rejection they gave you. They'll see the strength you found because of it, and they'll admire it. They won't say it out loud, but inside they'll respect it, because you became something they never expected. But don't do it for them. Do it because you owe it to yourself. You've been through too much to stop now. You've been overlooked too many times to waste another moment. That pain you carry, channel it. Use it in your training. Use it in your focus. Use it when you feel tired. Because that's the edge you have. You know what it's like to be doubted. And now you're going to show what it looks like when someone who's been rejected refuses to stay down. Rejection is just redirection. It doesn't end your story. It gives you a new starting point. You have to want to rise more than you want to be accepted. You have to want to grow more than you want sympathy. You have to be willing to do the work even when no one says good job. Especially then. Because that's when most people quit. That's when most people fold. But not you. You're going to keep rising until you become the person they never saw coming. There's something powerful about someone who keeps building after being rejected. They don't need to talk. They don't need to explain. They just keep stacking small wins. They just keep getting sharper, day after day, while others wait to be noticed. You're going to outgrow the version of you that needed to be chosen. That's what true power looks like. It's quiet. It's focused. It's disciplined. It doesn't chase validation. It creates impact. You don't need their stage. You don't need their permission. You can build your own. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Make it better every day. Let your actions speak so loudly they can't forget your name. Not because you tried to prove them wrong, but because you chose to prove yourself right. That you were capable all along. That rejection didn't mean the end. It meant it was time to get serious. It meant your path was going to require more from you. And you were willing to give it. You're not fragile. You're not broken. You're becoming. And every person who said no gave you another chance to grow, to learn, to outlast. Every rejection added a layer of strength that couldn't come any other way. You're not behind. You're just in training. And the more you face, the more equipped you become. There's a calm that comes when you no longer fear being rejected. When you welcome it. When you understand it's just part of becoming unstoppable. Let them reject you, but never reject yourself. Your time will come. Your work will speak. But it won't happen if you keep chasing their approval. It happens when you decide to outwork the old you. To take every piece of rejection and turn it into focus, into clarity, into action. You don't need to shout. You just need to keep going. Stay steady. Stay disciplined. Let them talk. Let them laugh. You'll still be moving. You'll still be improving. You'll still be building. One day the same ones who turned away will wish they had your mindset. They'll wish they had your grit. But it's not theirs. It's yours. And you earned it. Not by being accepted, but by surviving every no and choosing to rise anyway. You became someone they admired, not because you followed the crowd, but because you outgrew it.
Number 8, work silently and let success make the noise. There's a power in being quiet about your process. In a world where everyone's trying to prove something, trying to show what they're doing before they've done it, you gain an edge by doing the opposite. You gain strength by choosing the shadows instead of the spotlight. Because when you stop talking and start doing, you shift your energy from noise to focus. That's where real results begin. That's where transformation starts. Not in telling people what you plan to do, but in doing it when no one is watching. There's no reward in seeking attention too early. It distracts you. It traps you in needing approval before the work is even complete. But when you choose silence, you protect your momentum. You train without interruption. You learn without an audience. You fall and get back up without needing to explain anything to anyone. You evolve at your own pace. Every hour spent grinding alone adds up to something stronger than any applause can give you. Because you're building something real. And real doesn't need to be announced. If you want results, you've got to fall in love with the work itself, not with the recognition, not with the praise, not with being seen, but with being better. Every day you stay consistent.
Every time you show up and put in the effort while others are sleeping in or showing off, you gain something they never will. Inner strength. The kind of strength that doesn't fade. The kind that shows up under pressure. The kind that holds you together when things get hard. And that strength gets built in silence. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You need to show yourself that you can follow through. That you're not doing this for likes or attention or compliments. You're doing it because your future deserves better than your excuses. Because your goals matter more than your comfort. Because your growth is your responsibility. And if you stay focused long enough without getting distracted by what others are doing, one day the world will have no choice but to notice the results you earned. Working silently doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to stay grounded. It means you're not desperate for validation. It means you believe in yourself more than you believe in applause. When you train quietly, there's no pressure to perform. There's only pressure to improve. You can make mistakes without judgment. You can struggle without shame. You can take your time and get it right. And when the results come, they'll speak with more power than any words ever could. Success is not something you post about. It's something you live. It shows up in your discipline, in your habits, in how you treat your body, in how you use your time, in how you respond when things get difficult. And those things are built behind the scenes. That's where your character is tested. That's where your mindset is sharpened. That's where your dreams are shaped. Far from the spotlight, far from the noise, far from the opinions. You need to stop chasing external motivation and start creating internal discipline. The kind of discipline that doesn't care who's watching. The kind that stays locked in even when no one acknowledges your efforts. You get up early. You stay late. You keep learning. And you keep moving because you said you would. And that matters more than anyone else's approval. You're not in this to impress. You're in this to grow. You're in this to see how far you can go if you really give it your all. People may doubt you now. They may not understand why you're so quiet, why you've pulled back, why you don't share every move. Let them wonder. Let them underestimate. Because while they're watching others, you're working. While they're distracted, you're focused. While they're waiting for the perfect time, you're creating progress. And when your time comes, when the results finally show up, they'll have no choice but to respect the silence that got you there. It's easy to talk. It's hard to do. That's why so few succeed. They choose noise over action, hype over habits. But you're choosing differently. You're choosing to be the person who doesn't need to be seen to stay committed, who doesn't need applause to stay disciplined, who doesn't need motivation to stay consistent. That's what separates the successful from the average. The ability to keep going in silence. The willingness to sacrifice recognition today for results tomorrow. There is a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're putting in the work. Not just once, but every single day. That confidence doesn't come from compliments. It comes from completion. It comes from setting a goal and doing what it takes to hit it. It comes from doing the work, even when you feel tired, even when you feel alone, even when no one notices. Because you're not here for comfort. You're here for results. You're not here for likes. You're here for legacy. Every hour you put in now without showing it off builds a reputation that lasts. Because when success finally arrives, it won't need an introduction. It will be so clear, so undeniable, that people won't ask how you did it. They'll ask how they missed it, and the answer will be simple. They were busy watching while you were working. They were busy talking while you were improving. They were busy showing off while you were showing up. Let them celebrate early. Let them talk loud. Let them be seen. You stay in the shadows and keep building. You keep stacking the wins. You keep improving your skill set. Keep sharpening your mind. Keep pushing your limits. Keep learning what works and what doesn't. Because while others are caught up in the noise, you're mastering the craft. You're laying down brick by brick, a foundation they won't be able to shake. And when the building stands tall, they'll know who built it, without you having to say a word. Don't be distracted by the performance of others. Stay rooted in your own process. Stay loyal to the goals you set when no one else believed in them. Protect your time. Guard your focus. Respect your energy. This isn't about attention. This is about evolution. This is about becoming the person your future needs. This is about turning your vision into your reality, not through noise but through non-stop effort. Eventually they'll hear you, not because you raised your voice, but because your results raised the standard. Not because you shouted your plans, but because your discipline shouted your progress. But because your discipline shouted your progress. Not because you chased their approval, but because you built a life they couldn't ignore, all without needing to say a word.
Number 9. Turn your pain into the fire that drives you. Pain is a universal experience. Every single one of us will encounter it at some point in our lives. It's part of being human. We can't escape it, and no one is exempt. But here's the truth. Pain, when understood and channeled correctly, can become one of your greatest assets. Pain doesn't have to be something that holds you back. It doesn't have to be a reason to quit. Pain, in fact, can be the very fuel you need to drive forward. It can be the fire that keeps you going when everything else wants to push you down. I know what you're thinking. How can pain be anything other than a burden? It feels like it drains you. It makes everything harder. It makes you question why you even started. But let me tell you something. It's not the pain that defines you. It's how you respond to it that does. The people who rise above their struggles don't do so by avoiding pain, but by using it as the catalyst for change. They don't let pain stop them. They use it to propel them forward. When life knocks you down, it's easy to think that it's all over. It's easy to think that your dreams are out of reach and that the hurt you're feeling is permanent. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Pain is temporary. The scars may remain, but the pain itself will fade. What you choose to do with it during that time, how you decide to let it shape you, is what makes all the difference. You don't have to let pain break you. You can let it rebuild you into someone stronger, more resilient, and more driven than ever before. There's an undeniable power in turning your struggles into motivation. When you decide to push through the hardest moments, when you decide to keep moving even when everything inside you tells you to stop, something shifts inside of you. That's when you discover just how strong you really are. That's when you realize that pain doesn't have to have the final say. You do. Use your pain as a reminder of why you started. Use it to reignite your passion. When things get tough, when you feel overwhelmed by the weight of the world, remember that pain is not your enemy. It's the fire you need to keep going. Pain can be your greatest teacher, showing you exactly what you're made of. It reveals your character, your grit, and your perseverance. It shows you that you have more strength than you give yourself credit for. Every challenge you face, every setback you encounter, is an opportunity to become better. It's an opportunity to strengthen your resolve. Pain is the doorway to growth. It's what separates those who give up from those who keep pushing. When you face your pain head on, you don't just survive, it changes you. It makes you tougher, smarter, and more capable. And the more you experience pain and keep moving forward, the easier it becomes to use that pain as a driving force. There's a saying that pain is temporary, but quitting lasts forever. You may feel like giving up in the middle of your struggle. It's easy to want to walk away when things aren't going your way. But when you choose to push through, when you choose to fight through the pain, you build resilience. That resilience becomes the foundation for your success. It's the strength you need to overcome future challenges. The more you turn your pain into motivation, the more you build the mental toughness that allows you to face anything life throws your way. Pain is also a great equalizer. No matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no one is immune to hardship. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't is their ability to turn their pain into fuel. When others let pain define them, you can choose to let it refine you. It's about perspective. You can view pain as a setback, or you can view it as an opportunity to rise above. The choice is yours. When you're in the midst of pain, it can feel like the end. It can feel like you'll never make it through. But I promise you, on the other side of that pain is a version of yourself that you never imagined. The person who emerges after facing hardship is always stronger. And that strength is built by leaning into the pain, not running from it. When you allow yourself to be shaped by what you've been through, you become unbreakable. You become a force to be reckoned with. You become someone who knows that nothing can stop them.
But it's not just about surviving pain. It's about transforming it into something powerful. It's about using that pain to fuel your desire to succeed. It's about waking up every day and choosing to turn your struggles into your purpose. When you do that, when you use every challenge as a reason to work harder, to strive for more, to push through the limits you once thought you had, you become unstoppable. No matter how many times life knocks you down, no matter how many setbacks you face, you always have the power to rise. And each time you rise stronger. Pain no longer holds you back. It propels you forward. It teaches you lessons that success could never teach you. It hardens your resolve and sharpens your focus. Every single person who has achieved greatness has gone through pain. They've all faced adversity. But what set them apart was their ability to turn that pain into fuel, to transform their struggles into triumphs. And that's exactly what you're capable of doing. Pain isn't something that happens to you. It's something that happens for you. It's there to shape you, to make you more powerful, to drive you toward your goals. Remember this, pain is not the end. It's the beginning of something greater. It's the spark that ignites the fire. It's the force that drives you forward when you feel like quitting. And when you make the decision to turn your pain into purpose, there is no limit to what you can achieve.
Number 10. Break limits and lead with results, not excuses. Excuses are easy. They're comfortable. They're a way to avoid facing the truth about ourselves. But the truth is, excuses hold us back. They keep us stuck in the same place, playing small and avoiding the challenge of pushing beyond what we think is possible. If you want to grow, if you want to achieve anything meaningful, you need to get rid of excuses. You need to break the limits that you've placed on yourself and take responsibility for your actions. No one cares about your excuses. What people care about is what you can do, the results you deliver, the outcomes you create. It's easy to find reasons why you can't do something. You can tell yourself that you don't have enough time, that you don't have enough resources, or that the odds are stacked against you. You can use your past failures as proof that you're destined for more failure. But none of that matters. What matters is what you do with what you've been given. You can choose to make excuses, or you can choose to make progress. You can choose to stay in your comfort zone, or you can choose to break through the limits that have been holding you back. Here's the hard truth. Nobody cares about your excuses. Not your friends, not your family, and certainly not the world around you. People don't care about why you can't succeed. They care about the results you bring. They care about what you've accomplished, about how you've taken action, about how you've proven your worth through your efforts. Your success will never be measured by how many excuses you've made, but by what you've achieved despite the challenges. The first step in breaking your limits is recognizing that they exist. We all have these invisible walls that we've built around ourselves. Walls made of fear, doubt, and self-imposed limitations. But here's the thing. These walls aren't real. They're a product of our own thinking, and they only exist if we let them. Once you recognize that your limits are nothing more than illusions, you can start tearing them down. You can start pushing past the boundaries that have been holding you back and discover just how far you can really go. It's easy to make excuses when things aren't going well. It's easy to point to external factors and say, that's the reason I'm not where I want to be. But if you want to break through your limits, you need to take full ownership of your situation. You need to stop blaming others, stop pointing fingers, and stop making excuses. Your circumstances don't define you. Your actions do. If you want to change your life, you have to change your mindset. You have to stop waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect conditions. You have to start acting right now with what you have. The most successful people in the world didn't get to where they are by making excuses. They didn't let obstacles stop them. They didn't wait for things to be just right. They found a way to get things done, no matter the challenges. They broke their limits by focusing on results instead of excuses. They didn't allow setbacks to define them. They used those setbacks as stepping stones to greater achievements. Breaking limits is all about taking massive action. It's about refusing to let anything stop you. It's about moving forward even when it feels like you're not making progress. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't
is their ability to push through adversity. Those who succeed don't wait for the conditions to be perfect. They don't let failures discourage them. They just keep going. And in doing so, they break through limits they never thought possible. When you focus on results, you shift your mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility. You stop thinking about what's standing in your way and start thinking about how you can overcome it. You stop focusing on why something can't be done and start focusing on how you can get it done. You stop making excuses and start making progress. Every step you take toward your goal, no matter how small, is a step toward breaking your limits and achieving something great. The key to success isn't about being perfect. It's about progress. It's about moving forward, no matter how difficult it may seem. When you focus on the results you want, you stop getting distracted by excuses. You stop letting temporary setbacks or challenges derail you. Instead, you stay focused on your goal and take consistent, persistent action toward it. Over time, those small steps add up to big results. You have the power to break your own limits. It's up to you to take control of your life and your future. You can choose to let excuses hold you back, or you can choose to take responsibility for your actions and start moving toward your goals. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about making the moment perfect with the action you take. The results you achieve will be a direct reflection of your commitment to getting things done, no matter what. Remember, it's not the challenges that define you. It's how you respond to them. You can choose to be a victim of your circumstances, or you can choose to break through those circumstances and rise above. You can make excuses, or you can make results. The choice is yours. As you move forward, don't let the fear of failure hold you back. Don't let the uncertainty of the future paralyze you. Instead, embrace the discomfort of pushing through your limits. That discomfort is where the growth happens. That discomfort is where the breakthroughs occur. The more you push, the stronger you become. The more you move beyond your limits, the more you will discover just how capable you really are. Break your limits. Stop making excuses. Lead with results. Let your actions speak louder than your words. When you focus on results, you start building a life that reflects the person you want to be. And when you consistently show up and take action, you become someone who doesn't just dream, they achieve. Don't wait for the world to give you permission. Take the reins, set the pace, break your limits, and show the world who you really are.